Today we're diving into a storm that's been brewing in the royal sphere, a storm of selective empathy that's revealing the palace's facade for what it truly is. Picture this. Children left standing in the rain while William and Kate stay dry under their personal umbrellas. It's a scene that could have been plucked straight out of a Marie Antoinette film, and you'd think this would be a wake-up call for the royal PR machine. But, as it turns out, they were just getting started. You'd imagine they'd say, "All right, folks, let's make amends indoors." Instead, they chose to take a sip of their Earl Grey and stage a PR disaster of biblical proportions. The second act of this spectacle unfolded in a classroom full of beautiful, eager little ones. And what unfolded next was a startling demonstration of selective empathy. The future monarchs, William and Kate, were seen bending and giggling with only a select few children. The footage tells it all. Young black children, hands out, waiting for their turn, their moment of acknowledgement, only to be bypassed. And no, this wasn't just a bad camera angle or a fleeting moment. This was a pattern that screams an ugly truth. The UK press, of course, will steer clear of this narrative. They'll crop the photos, hoping the actual reality remains unnoticed. But the internet, it never forgets. And this is what they mean when they say the monarchy is out of touch. It's 2025, and at the very least, public figures are expected to pretend to care about everyone equally. This is the same family that watched Meghan Sussex endure the relentless scrutiny of the British press, treating her blackness like a scandal. Instead of standing up, they chose to feed her to the wolves. Fast forward to today, and we see the same dynamics playing out in a classroom. Selective empathy, that's what this is. William and Kate know exactly how to turn on the charm for the cameras, but that warmth doesn't extend to everyone. Isn't it telling that those left on the outside of that royal glow always seem to be black or brown? Coincidence? I don't think so. Now, you might think this was just a one-time incident, a glitch in the royal PR machine. But oh, there's more to this story. Let's take a closer look at a recent incident that took place in a classroom full of beautiful little ones. The future of the monarchy, William and Kate were there, supposedly to interact with all the children. However, a disturbing pattern emerged. It was as though they were in a world of their own, bending and giggling with only a select few children. The footage is painfully clear. There were children of color present, their eyes curious, their hands outstretched, eager for recognition. But they were seemingly invisible to the royal couple. Instead, William and Kate focused their attention on the lighter-skinned children, showering them with warmth and attention. This was not a one-off incident, a mere trick of the camera. It was a pattern that was loud and clear, and it spoke an unsettling truth. The children who were bypassed were mostly black. How could the future king and queen be so oblivious to such a glaring act of selective interaction? This incident speaks volumes about the monarchy's disconnect from the realities of a diverse and multicultural society. It's 2025, and the bare minimum expected from public figures is to at least pretend to care about everyone equally. Yet, here were William and Kate blatantly ignoring a group of children based on their skin color. Let's remember that this is the same royal family that watched Meghan Sussex, a woman of color, being ripped apart by the British press on a daily basis. They allowed her blackness to be treated like a scandal and her every move to be dissected. And now we see this same dynamic playing out in a classroom. It's a clear demonstration of selective empathy, with the royal couple knowing exactly when to turn on the charm for the cameras, but only for a select few. It's glaringly evident that those left on the outside of this royal glow are often black or brown. Is this just a coincidence? It's hard to believe so. This pattern is not just a momentary lapse. It screams a very unpleasant truth. This is not the first time the monarchy has shown selective empathy. Remember Meghan Sussex? Ah, Meghan, the woman who was unfairly vilified by the British press and essentially left to fend for herself by the same family that now parades its empathy selectively. The way Meghan was treated was a clear indicator of the monarchy's selective empathy. Day after day, she was subjected to brutal headlines that painted her blackness as a scandal. They dissected her every move, every word, every outfit. The press turned her into a villain, while the royal family remained silent, watching from the sidelines. And when she needed them the most, when she was crying out for help, they turned their back on her. They chose their image over her well-being, over the well-being of one of their own. It was a stark contrast to the way they rally around their own when it suits them. The silence was deafening, and it spoke volumes about the true nature of the monarchy's empathy. Fast forward to the classroom incident, and it's the same story. Children eager to engage, ignored because they didn't fit the mold. Ignored because they were different. The monarchy's selective empathy was on full display, and it was a hard pill to swallow. The press, of course, was silent. They cropped the photos, they spun the story. But the truth was there for everyone to see. The internet saw it. The world saw it. The monarchy's selective empathy was exposed, yet the press continues to protect the monarchy. They gloss over their mistakes, they make excuses for their behaviors, the very same behaviors they crucified Meghan for. The hypocrisy is staggering, and it's a clear indication of the deep-seated issues within the monarchy and the press. Time and again, the people left on the outside of that royal glow always happen to be black or brown. Coincidence? I don't think so. The monarchy's selective empathy isn't just a problem, it's a pattern. And it's a pattern that needs to be addressed because it's not just about Meghan or those children in the classroom. It's about every person of color who has ever felt marginalized or ignored. It's about change, and it's high time the monarchy acknowledged it. If this clip were Meghan and Harry, the press would already be on fire. That's the stark truth, isn't it? The media has a role to play in the narrative of the monarchy's selective empathy, and it's a role that is all too often overlooked. Consider this. If Meghan and Harry had been the ones bending and giggling over a select few children, bypassing the eager hands of darker-skinned children, the press would be ablaze with headlines. The footage would be replayed on every news channel, dissected and analyzed by every pundit with a microphone. There would be cries of racism, of elitism, of the Sussexes failing to uphold the standards of the royal family. But when it's William and Kate, the golden couple, the future king and queen, the story is different. The press turns a blind eye, they crop the photos, they spin the narrative, they focus on the laughter, the smiles, the royal charm, and conveniently ignore the darker-skinned children left out of the picture. The hypocrisy is breathtaking. The difference in media coverage when it comes to Meghan and Harry versus William and Kate is glaring. Meghan, with her American roots and her mixed-race heritage, was a target from the moment she entered the royal fold. Her every move was scrutinized, her every word twisted. The press pounced on any perceived misstep, fueling the flames of the public's discontent. And yet, when William and Kate commit a clear act of selective empathy, the media is silent. There are no outraged headlines, no calls for accountability. Instead, there are excuses, attempts to explain away the footage, to gaslight the public into thinking they didn't see what they clearly saw. It's a double standard that is as plain as day, and it's a double standard that perpetuates the monarchy's selective empathy. The media, with its power to shape public opinion, has a responsibility to hold all members of the royal family to the same standard. But sadly, when it comes to the press, it seems that some royals are more equal than others. When it's William and Kate, there is silence, excuses, and gaslighting. That's the harsh reality of the media's hypocrisy, and it's a reality that we, as a society, need to confront. They may have survived the rain under their own umbrellas, but the truth is in the footage, and the truth is ugly. It's not just about a classroom incident, it's a reflection of a pattern that screams indifference, selective empathy, and systemic racism. This isn't just an ugly truth about the monarchy, but it's also an ugly truth about our society, our media, and our collective consciousness. The storm of selective empathy we discussed is not just a one-off incident. It's a downpour of hypocrisy that has become the norm. It's a storm that has been brewing for centuries, and it's high time we acknowledge it. It's time to question the institutions that perpetuate this bias, the media that turns a blind eye, and our own complacency that allows this to continue. The classroom incident is a stark reminder of the everyday biases that people of color face. It's a vivid illustration of a much larger problem. The problem of systemic racism that is deeply ingrained in our institutions, our media, and our minds. It's a problem that can't be solved by just changing the players. It needs a complete overhaul of the game. The monarchy's selective empathy, as we've seen, is not an exception but the rule. It's a clear demonstration of how the institution privileges some voices over others, how it selectively chooses who to empathize with and who to ignore. It's a glaring example of the institutionalized racism that we need to confront and dismantle. The press's hypocrisy is another ugly truth we need to face. The way they vilify some while protecting others, the way they manipulate narratives to fit their agenda, the way they perpetuate harmful stereotypes, it's all part of a
The beggars of Britain, they beg for what they once belittled. Harry and Meghan are not coming back. It's actually laughable, borderline pitiful, how some in the UK are now practically on their knees begging Prince Harry and Meghan Sussex to return. The same couple y'all drove out with your racism, tabloid hate, and relentless smear campaigns is now expected to return to a country that is beneath them in almost every way? Be serious. Let's start with the facts. Prince Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, are not tucked away in a cottage behind palace walls anymore. They are living in a $14 million Montecito mansion in sunny California, with 9 bedrooms, a guest house, 16 bathrooms,